WROL Broadcast. We are doing our second edition of the June tier listings. Today I have with me Kage, Loot, M4, and Bryan, who did our awesome graphics last month, and we decided to invite him along so he can do some real-time artwork with us. We're going to review some characters that we previously didn't probably rate properly, or we just had new thoughts about them, and we're also going to do the new characters. So we had a lot of feedback from the last one, so we're hoping to get this right. One quick note is remember that this is based on Endgame PvP, so some characters may or may not be better early. We have a whole key discussing that. Go listen to the first one for us to go through it all, because we don't want to spend 30 minutes going through that again. But the key is also explained in the post as well. Bryan, before we get going on this, if you don't mind, if you want to just give us a little bit of your quick DCL history and say hi to the audience.
Yeah, I started playing way back when during the Harley Quinn Quite Vexing event. So I don't remember quite how long ago that was, but it was like 3 years or so. I've always been a fan of DC. I've been into the movies, read some comics, but not a ton. And always liked this style of game, so it was just kind of a natural fit for me.
All right, cool. Well, we appreciate you coming on, and we really appreciate the awesome artwork you did for this last time. And so let's go ahead and get right into it. Do you want to start with the new characters first, guys, or do you think we should just go down the list? Right now,
I say we just go down the list.
Okay, we'll go down the list. So the first one we're looking at revisiting is Etrigan. After facing him a ton recently, I have rethought and decided I feel like he deserves S tier. I don't know if anybody else agrees with me, but he has been, I've seen him on more and more teams, and it seems like with a tank meta that's been forming, he is the way to punch through it. So the classification for S tier is a character that can take over a match, which check, he can do it. He does require a little bit more ramp up than a Black Adam, because Black Adam can kind of out of the gate nuke something. But I also feel like Etrigan has a lot more survivability, so it's kind of that trade-off. Kage, do you still agree, still disagree? What's your thoughts on that?
I've always had him as an S tier character. It was always just someone else in the group saying that he just does damage only, but he fits the qualifications of being able to plug and play. He has good sustain. The true damage on his basic is really good. And then double swiping, even though it's gated, it does true damage, and it's a good way to punch through even reds.
All right, and how about you, Loot? I see your score recently updated.
I just updated my score. I am going to agree with you. He's now a 5. He's S tier.
M4, do you agree, disagree?
I still think he's a tier below Black Adam because he's like awesome. But the one thing that's going for Etrigan is he can punch above his weight class. What I mean by that is even if he's a G10, after he ramps up, he doesn't care anymore. He feels like he's G12.
And Bryan, what would you say?
I've been using Etrigan a lot more recently, and I've really enjoyed using him. Like you said, the double on his basic always helps out, and if he gets that first kill, he can start ramping up and keep going, so I like him a lot.
All right, well, I think that settles it. Looks like we are going S tier on Etrigan, so he will be adjusted in the new listing. All right, let's move on to the new character, which I think all of us really like for the most part, is Big Barda. I personally didn't put her at S tier, though. She might be borderline S tier. The only hesitation I have is that I feel like some matches she's S tier, and then some matches she doesn't proc much, or she dies really fast to Larfleeze or Zod, which, I mean, that can be said of any character. So that isn't, but she is a taunting character, but she doesn't turn zero taunt. So I kind of hedged a little bit and felt like she wasn't quite S tier for me completely, even though I love her as a character. Kage, you had ranked her at above an S tier briefly. If you want to go ahead and give me your thoughts.
Yeah, so every character's gonna have a bad matchup, but yeah, she's got only a handful of bad matchups. Number one Pot, Red Robin, anyone who's got buff immunity or Yeah, heal immunity might not be able to stop her because the more you hit her, the more she just ramps up. That's kind of like you're looking at a Bane. The only difference with her and Bane is that Bane requires that overheal gate. The other thing too is she just plugs into any team and makes it better. So for our definition of an S tier character, she meets all of them.
What say you, Luke?
Yeah, I would like to give her like, what do I have her at, a 5? So I've got her at S. I'd like to bring her in at a 10. I think she is the new meta. I think we're looking at a game changer right here. I went all in on Barda. I rebirthed her yesterday. Don't regret it. I'm super excited about it. Girl takes a beating, and you know what? She just shrugs it off. I had my whole team died but her, so it was 4 against 1, and I could still win. The only time where like I can't win is if it's like against Hal Jordan because she literally can't hurt him.
I
But,
did have my one match where I ended up losing everyone, and then it came down to her versus an entire Batgirl team and won. That did impress me, I must say.
I mean, come on. If that's not S tier, what is?
M4?
All right, so I'm here with the unpopular opinion. So I look at the Barda as competing with Penguin on your team. Okay. However, I think Penguin is still slightly better because for one, Penguin can force you to hit him. Right? He has that 50% chance to taunt. Barda, as long as you ignore her, she'll do nothing until turn 2. Okay. And then second, Penguin only has one direct counter. It's Flash. You have to go through his shield. You have to go through his awareness. But Barda has a lot of counters like Kage mentioned earlier. Like buff immunity and Manta just dismantles Barda just by standing there. So you would see people bring Larfleeze and Manta out, and we've started to see that. Okay. But the one thing that's going for her, that's why I think she's borderline S tier, is the stamina ops. So one thing about stamina ops is, if you don't know, it's not affected by heal immunity. The reason for that is you're not healing. Your base health is expanding, so it's not healing per se. So if you notice, if you have heal immunity on your team, like let's say from, what's a good heal immunity? Manta, let's say, on your other...
Supergirl.
Yes,
Let's
Supergirl's the perfect
Supergirl
one.
I just ran sorry to cut you off. I just ran a match against Supergirl earlier. She put her basic on the whole team, and everyone still healed up. Perfectly nice.
Oh, they're not healing.
Well, they're gaining HP.
Correct. They're not regaining health. They're making more. So that's why I think she's borderline S tier, not quite there.
All right, let's see what the tiebreaker says, Brian. A lot of weights on your shoulders.
I don't know if that's a good position to put me in. I've only had her unlocked for 2 days, so I'm still in the process of gearing her up a little bit, but I did face her a well-geared up one in Red Alerts the other day, and I noticed she stuck around all the way to the end, and then I basically just barraged her with attack after attack after attack, and finally was able to knock her out. The one knock I have on her is she did no damage to any of my characters. So I don't know if that was just the level I was facing her at, or if she just doesn't have any offense and she's just pure defense.
No, it's a good statement. She has trouble against Hal Jordan, specifically Hal Jordan. She can go toe-to-toe with almost any green. In fact, I went toe-to-toe with Power Girl today. It was 1v1. Everyone else was dead, and I won. I killed Power Girl.
Well, but was she 80? Because I also just recently played a match where Power Girl double punched her and killed her immediately. And this was like when she was buffed up, not crazy buffed up, but she had overheal and a pretty decent chunk of stamina ups. And a 10 stack level 80 gear 11 Power Girl.
I didn't. It was at L5 G11. I don't know what level the Power Girl was, but I shrugged those hits off, kept gating stamina ups. it kept proccing over and over, so I was getting like double taunts. So you get, instead of 6, you get 12 stamina ups, and she couldn't keep up. Power Girl just couldn't do it.
I actually fought a Power Girl 1v1 with Barda today, and it was just a stalemate. Power Girl kept gaining a million strength ups, overheal. My Barda just gained a million stamina ups, overheal, and I ran the game for like on auto for 30 minutes, and it went nowhere. So to me, that's it's a tie for 1v1 on them.
I'm torn. This is where we had one hedge, and then we had two basically in betweens. I guess if we're classifying, I would say I would lean more towards S than A, I suppose. Do you agree with that, M4? With as much love as she's getting from the other two?
I mean, I would give her an S if you'd say Penguin is an S, because they're the same. I mean, they're kind of.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I guess. All right, so let's go into that.
Wait, and I want you to see something. If you look in the need to revisit line, there is a Y in the Penguin.
Oh, well, that's what I was saying. The next, let's talk about that next, because Penguin is next up. We had almost the exact same scenario. I think he's a little below an S tier. Kage, it looks like you agree with me.
Yeah, I do.
I actually like Barda better than Penguin overall.
So do I.
Loot, you think Penguin is S tier?
Absolutely.
M4, I know you love him as S tier.
He just makes the team better.
He does.
He brings you guys didn't know me when Penguin first came out, but
Oh, I do.
M4 did, and he was my least favorite character in the game. I hated him. I used to write nasty things on Reddit about him. Like, I was really, really unhappy with Penguin. And the fact that I'm saying that he's as good as he is just astonishing.
Bryan, any thoughts on Penguin?
I'm in a similar spot as Luke, because when Penguin first came out, I really didn't like him at all. I got all of his character shards from the event, and then just he sat deep in my roster, and I never geared him up. And even when he got his rework, I was disinterested, so I never geared him up after that. So I really haven't used him since then, so I don't have a good feel for him. But anytime I see him in red alerts or PvP, I'll go after him, let him sit around till the end, and just take him down, because he doesn't do a lot of offense that I've seen.
Yeah, I would say he's more pure utility.
Yeah, I mean that's okay. I mean, you can be a
his
pure...
AI is better than Barda. Out of the gate, he's gonna turn meter down the enemy team, and he's decently fast. He's not super fast, but decent, right? So out of the gate, he can taunt, and he can turn meter down the enemy team, and he can put up shields off turn, right?
Which is a lot more important than it used to be, even.
That's true.
Right.
Well, the only reason Penguin can taunt out of the gate is if you run him with like a Hal Jordan or Brainiac. Otherwise, you still need to wait for it till your turn or someone else to put shield on him. Barda has the same issue. You got to run like Ivy or someone to just draw that first turn aggro on Barda.
Right.
Right, but it's harder to get stamina. What does he need? What does she need? Just to get hit, right?
Yep.
Yeah, she just needs to get touched.
But
Just touch her.
50% is greater than 30%, And how Jordan just, and Atrocity does so many shield tunes, right? That gets it on turn 0.
I'll relent on S tier. Looks like we'll err on the side of upward mobility right now.
I definitely think Penguin's going to have a place in the new meta that's forming, because there's a lot more shield teams out there now too. And the other thing too is that if they fix his basic, or the bugged basic, he'll be definitely S tier. Right now, he steals buffs, but it can miss. Even though the text says, always, it can still miss on the buffs.
Is WB aware of that? Do they recognize that it's an in-game bug?
Yeah,
I've been reporting that.
Yeah,
I've been reporting it.
Okay.
Let's move on. Next on the list was Brainiac. I kind of felt like we should revisit it because I was so high on Brainiac. Then Hal Jordan came out, and he kind of quashed my thoughts on a lot of characters. But then after kind of, the newness of Hal Jordan's greatness wore off a little bit, and granted, my opinion on him hasn't changed at all, um, on Hal Jordan. But I found that I'm using Brainiac a lot more again, and especially with Barda getting the whip going strong and heavy, having Brainiac on your team, keeps some of your squishier characters that you want to run alive, and that turn meter like M4 was always very high on. I think if we're putting Steppenwolf on S tier and some of the other leaders that aren't necessarily that great outside a leader, but are fantastic as leader, I kind of think he should be S tier. What say you go just the list as we've been going, Kage?
Shoot, I messed that score up. Hold on.
You think he's F tier is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'll concede the S tier. I find him more important now because all the Hal, Swamp Thing, and Bane teams are out there now.
Yeah.
And so having that off-turn damage is really important. I also think that having that speed boost without having to resort to like Wally West or Wonder Girl, so that the extra options that opens up with that first turn meter is good. And also when I'm facing a Brainiac team, it's usually paired with like some of the meta characters, so you usually need to answer with your own Brainiac or that kind of shenanigans.
How about you, Luke?
Yeah, I updated my score. I'm going S tier. I've been using him the last couple days a lot. I think he is super important. The turn meter, the speed increase that you were talking about really makes a huge difference. When I fight teams and I don't have a Brainiac and they do, a lot of times it puts me at a big disadvantage. So my Brainiac is only L3, so I don't really have a full one yet, but he's got somewhat of a kit. But I do agree that he's S tier. And as soon as mine is L5, I'll agree even more.
And M4, I think you were champion for S tier last time, so I'm guessing you're
Yep.
on board with that.
Yep.
How about Brian? Any disagreements there on Brainiac being S tier?
No, this was one of the characters the first time I was doing the graphic. I was surprised that he wasn't in S tier. So, yeah.
Okay. I think that was definitely a mishap on our part. So let's move on to Alan Scott. I have been so high on him lately. Just teams I faced with him, when I use him, he just seems like he's got the total package all the way around. And I mean, he shields your team. He stays alive pretty well. Yeah, he can die to higher gun dead shot, but who can't? He does high damage, a lot of utility. I kind of wish I would have rebirthed him because I'm mildly jealous of Du Bois, RB2, Alan Scott, probably going to be RB3, Alan Scott soon. Kage, agree, disagree?
That's tough. I've fought a few good Alan Scott teams, but they were like level 80, so my Deadshot couldn't really one-shot him at the gate. My Alan Scott's only level 70, not even full gear 11. He actually does pretty good damage for a gear 10.8. I think he's got a lot of utility. I think the cool thing about the shields too is that it ignores affinity. Someone can check me on that, but I think it ignores affinity. So once the shield comes off, then he'll take the affinity boosted damage
I
against
didn't
him.
realize that.
I don't think that's true.
I don't know. Someone can double check. We can wiki it later. Actually, I'm going to wiki it now while you guys talk.
Okay.
But I still think he's, I don't know, high A, borderline S, maybe like a 4.3.
Luke,
I mean, I really like him. I just don't think he's S tier. I think he's one step below. He does have good utility. He has good damage, but
let me ask you a question. Would you bring him over a Etrigan or, in some cases, Wonder Girl? And my answer is yes, and that's why I put him in S tier.
I see where you're going with it. Shoot out a good comp that you like. Who do you like using him with?
Just all you have to do is Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan, Allen Scott. I mean, that's it. I mean, I was running Hal
It
Jordan,
is a
Allen
good
Scott,
team.
Hal Jordan, Allen Scott, Barda, and Penguin. That's
Yeah,
such a
that,
nasty team.
I was actually using that too.
Yeah,
Loot, you know my team, right?
yeah, that's M4's team.
Yeah.
So M4,
All
why don't
right.
you bring?
I'll concede. I'll give you S tier. He's good. He's great.
How about this? He's an S tier when Hal Jordan is his lead. They kind of like go hand in hand. He may be an A outside of that.
Well, you know what though, but no, it doesn't have to be Hal Jordan. It can be any of the shielding characters. So
He can really enable himself though too, with that
yeah,
passive.
I did fight a team where he was by himself and he ramped up and got shielded and I couldn't kill him and he took everybody out.
Right.
Because that extra shield off turn is pretty clutch. That's just like free men's without a buff.
He was buried behind taunting characters that don't shield and he shielded up really fast. I think it was a Constantine. Yeah, one of the nastiest teams I faced. Actually, it was in Siege. It was an all blue team. It was Constantine, Wonder Girl, Alan Scott, and Swamp Thing. And I used an all red team with Black Manta and still lost. And it was because of Alan Scott, because I couldn't punch through all the shields. How about Brian? Any thoughts on Alan Scott?
No, I think you guys covered just about everything.
Okay, so I did a quick search on Google for shield damage on DC Legends. Well, I use Bing, but anyway, I found an old Reddit thread that tested this, and this guy tested damage versus shielded characters and damage versus, when they didn't have shield. Everything on the conclusion said that it's just identical damage. It's just extra HP is all it is.
Okay. So it doesn't
So
matter.
it doesn't ignore affinity. Okay, there we go.
So next on our list, this was another one that I got more messages about this character than any other one, more so than Etrigan, was Larfleeze not being S tier, which I have to say I have upgraded my thoughts on him because I'm not really, I think I was a little too Wonder Girl. I mean, outside of Wonder Girl, Larfleeze is, I mean, I think if Wonder Girl didn't exist in the game, Larfleeze might be broken. If his AI was a little smarter and he didn't constantly steal buffs all the time, but sometimes that's annoying, especially with Donna. I run down a Troy all the time, so Larfleeze is extra annoying because he just runs in and steals all the awareness. So my thoughts are S tier Kage. I think
Yeah, I updated it. No, he's borderline OP.
Yeah.
Because he'll gain turn meter no matter what. He's got purge. He's got health stealing, or not. Well, he gains HP. So
when he crits, his 3 actually can take my RB2 Donna Troy to half-life, which is impressive. No other character can do that. Hardgun Deadshot can't even do that. Loot, your thoughts?
I'm gonna upgrade him. He is a glass cannon. So, but you know what? Black Adam is too. So, I can't really fault him for being squishy.
Yeah, and he does actually more damage, I would
His
say.
damage output is I've hit in PvE. I've hit characters for like almost 200,000 in one shot.
There's been people that get up to 2 million with him. And
Holy cow!
So,
How do you do that? That's nuts.
There's ways to stack it, I guess, with
in PvE, yeah.
in PvE, not PvP. But how about
Could you
M4?
imagine 2 million in PvP?
Ridiculous.
Insta kill.
Yeah. He already has to kills if he's got enough intellect ups. It doesn't matter what it is.
I can tell you my RB1 Barda took his 3 and lived.
Yeah,
Same with mine, man.
I've had it a couple times, but most of the time he kills her.
See, Loot and I have the same luck with Barda. Like, you know?
She procs constantly for me.
We love her. She does the job. She survives. I don't know. Maybe there's a connection.
Well, think about my Banes. She's better than Bane for me, but she still doesn't taunt nearly as much as I would like. So M4, your thoughts?
So everyone talks about his damage, right? So he, like Etrigan, he allows the Cheetah to punch above their weight class. But his trait that's really annoying for me is if you kill his teammates, he's going to go next.
Yeah.
And that's really, you have to plan for it. And that's what makes him an
Yeah, unlike
borderline.
Etrigan or one of the other ones, he not only can go crazy from getting a kill, but also if a teammate's dead. So he benefits both sides. And he has lifesteal, which is fairly significant.
He's basically like Jessica Cruz, but better.
Yeah. Brian, any Larfleeze thoughts?
He can get turn meter up, he hits really hard, and can steal buffs. I think that's a lot of positives in his
Oh,
kit.
one other thing I want to mention on that too. He also purges debuffs because my stun team, I hate him more than any other character because I stun him and he's just like, I don't want that stun on me. I'll take it off.
Oh, right, he does that, yeah.
Yeah, so he's S tier. We were smoking something that day.
We were smoking that Hal Jordan pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black Adam.
Oh yeah, you guys were high on that Black Adam smoke.
Dude, Black Adam is amazing.
I like Black Adam a lot, but I've come down on him a lot. I'm not near. I actually don't even use him that much anymore.
I'm trying not to use him just so that I use other characters and feel like I'm not throwing my money out the window.
But I went and farmed 5,000 shards of Black Adam to not read.
So did I.
So.
Me
Well,
too.
you did farm 5,000 shards of Flash, so that,
Well, that we go back to the thing we talk about with loot issues.
We got issues.
I see somebody put green EAGA Emerald Archer Green Arrow. Who
yeah, I
made
don't
it?
know why with me. We were so wrong about him.
Yeah, we're wrong. He's not B.
Oh,
He's just not
wow,
a big
I don't
character.
know how we got B.
Hal Jordan, because of
Look,
the
no, look at that guy that voted 3.5. That's how we got to B.
Oh, okay. He's definitely an A.
Yeah, he's an A. We just thought he was not as high as before because of Hal Jordan.
Yeah, we
but
let that
with-
weigh our decisions a little too much.
Yeah,
He was my MVP in Siege.
in Siege. Yep.
When I needed a win, I took out Green Arrow, and it was an easy win too. He destroyed the entire team. Strike downs, agility downs. It's great.
Oh, I say it all the time. When I'm playing Siege, I fear him more than any other character because he always gets a kill. Always.
You know, he always clings on to that death immunity. It's insane.
Yeah,
I
and-
can. I'm throwing everything out the window at him, and he's still holding on
Oh,
to his
yeah.
dear life.
Yeah, all his other buffs are the first to go. For whatever reason, that death immunity is the very last,
It's last.
one. No matter what. It drives me crazy. So yeah, he's definitely an A. So I don't think we need to dwell on him too long. We had Bane. Somebody wanted to talk about him.
Bane.
I
Why do we
would.
have him as an A?
We had him as B. What was it?
No, we didn't.
No, we had
have
him.
an A.
No, we had him as
he's
A.
an A.
No, we had him as A, but a lot of people are saying he should be an S character. That's why we need to revisit.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't
See,
agree, but
I'm not seeing what Brain's bringing to the team. He can solo a match, yes, but he's not making the team better.
no.
That's why I'm saying he's an A character, not a S tier.
I
would
think
put
he's
him.
an A.
I'd put him at a C. I tried using him a lot with Barda and with Mira. I had a Barda Mira team, and he still was worthless.
He needs a lot of ramping, and he's way better on defense than he is on offense.
Yeah, I don't like him at
That's
all.
true.
Like I'd have him as an ungeared character if I could.
But
You
a
know,
lot of
I don't
people
know.
depend on him.
I think he's B A because he's just a low A, high B character for me because he needs that overheal gate, and it's really hard to keep, especially now with like people throwing AoE stuff everywhere, and you got RNG. You know,
I mean, I'd leave him an A just because I think he can punch above his weight class. So
I agree.
that's, I mean, but I wouldn't argue with him being lower, but I think the rest of society agrees he's an A, so I think we should probably leave him an A for that reason, if no other reason.
Agreed.
Next up on the list is Batwoman, which I don't even know how we got to a B on Batwoman. We really missed the boat on this one. I think Siege reopened our eyes to it. I jokingly put on the list S tier. I don't think she's quite S tier because she's kind of a one-trick pony after her initial big boost. Well, I mean, she's not bad afterwards. She's borderline S. I think she's an A, but I think she's borderline S.
So she's got the crit damage down.
Which is somewhat useful.
Yeah, but she relies a lot on invisible teammates to do a lot of damage with that basic too. So besides being a one-trick pony and high damage, I'm not seeing much that's going to bring her to S tier.
No,
I don't think she's a one-trick pony. If there's one toon in Siege that I hate facing, it's Batwoman. You know those little pokes? You know those little pokes?
She pokes
Oh my God.
you off turn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
If you bring
that's
Orm,
annoying.
he's dead.
I actually
She
lost.
poked me once and I died.
Yeah, she's the difference between 20 points and 15 points. She is so freaking annoying.
You know what? Yeah, she's a solid A character because of that off-turn attack.
Yeah,
I
and
give her a
and,
solid A.
and that kick, if she crits, she could kill let's say a squishy green, like a Larfleeze.
Oh yeah, she could definitely kill Larfleeze with that.
Yeah,
So she's not quite an S tier because there's counters like Clayface or any zero-turn taunter. But outside of that, she's amazing. And
Her
people
AI.
always, and people always underestimate her pokes. It's just weak damage, but then it adds up.
And it removes all the awareness. That's the biggest thing for me because I run
Yep.
Donna Troy so much. Brian, have you any agreements or disagreements on Batwoman?
I think she actually has a lot of similarities to Bane in that she can attack off turn. She can be really annoying on defense and hand out a lot of debuffs. So I think they should both be around the same ranking.
Okay, so A tier it is. Let's move on to, I kind of threw this on last minute and I thought Luke might be on board with me now, is Killer Frost. I think she's better than B. I mean, I don't know why, I think she's one of the better characters and she's super underrated in my mind.
She's a solid A. She's so good. I've been using her for the last 48 hours nonstop. She's so good. So good. Love her.
Kage, you still solid B.
It's tough because I'm not seeing too much damage output on her, but she is good
Oh, are
control.
you kidding? That's the best thing about her is the damage output.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not seeing.
all you have to do is you hit the person with the 2 to stun them, and then you hit them with their 3, and the 3 does. It's like a 30%. It's some
30% to
problem.
30% to do an off-turn attack when someone's stunned. I don't know. I gotta run with her a lot more, and I gotta.
It's like the amount of damage she does is it's some multiple of 30%.
Oh yeah,
of,
no, I know
their
what you're talking
total
about. Yeah.
health.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. It does extra damage.
It's like an extra 30%
if
damage
they're stunned. Yeah.
if they're stunned.
Well, in her basic, I've done to Hal Jordan 44,000 points of damage before with her basic.
But the thing is she relies a lot more on teammates that can stun.
Not really though, because she does.
No, she does. She can stun. She stuns herself. She stuns, and then she gets her
It's available
Q.
every other turn.
Yeah, it keeps coming up. You could keep using it.
And her basic.
Hits very
She can
hard.
stun her. No, she can stun on her basic.
If they're already stunned.
Correct. So she can proc her passive on her own.
I gotta lab with her a little bit more, but for me, she's not doing enough to be an A tier.
All right, M4, what's your thoughts on this?
I agree with all your points, but I'm with Kage that she's a borderline AB.
Brian, we'll let you be the tiebreaker.
Personally, I don't have her geared up, so it's mainly when I go against her, and I like to run Wonder Woman Princess of Themyscira as my lead a lot, and so her debuff immunity and killing debuffs kind of neutralizes Killer Frost, but the couple times she has got that stun on me and then hits her big hit, she can take out characters quick.
So would you say A or B?
I'd lean towards B, but I wouldn't argue against an A.
Oh,
The perfect
I
hedge.
want to throw one thing out there also. Her 3 completely removes the target's shield as well.
If he did that before the damage, I would say she's an A, but she does it backwards, so.
Yeah, that's my only knock on her. That's probably my biggest knock on her is that that legendary upgrade isn't that useful. It's, I don't know. I'm with
So
M4 on that one.
I would say that would make her an A then, because we have 2 A's, 1 B, and 1 borderline AB, and 1 borderline AB. So we'll round up. Just 'cause I like her so much. All right, let's move on to Arsenal. That was one we ranked as a C at one
Yeah, well,
point, and then after Siege, I think we might think he's a little bit better. I would definitely vote for a B at this point.
Me
yeah,
too.
definitely a B.
Kage,
He's
looks like
solid
you
B.
agree.
Yeah, he's solid.
Brian, any agreements or disagreements on that one?
Yeah,
we wanna
he's super annoying to go against with all the debuffs he dishes out on a constant basis.
Do we want to explain why he's a B character and it's not a C?
Yeah, so I kind of underappreciated because I was always trying to use him with Batgirl teams, and while he's a good character on those teams, he's really undervalued on just how much he can keep the strength downs and keep your team alive. Because he doesn't do a ton of damage. I mean, his damage is not bad, but the amount of strength downs he can pump out is just obscene. And in Siege, I kept my team alive most of the time because of him.
And it's also noteworthy that he's slightly faster than Red Robin. So he can put that strength down on your team first, and then you won't be able to snipe kill whoever you're targeting, let's say a Wonder Girl or Alan Scott.
I
Because you
never
have the
thought
three
of
strength
that.
downs.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you always gotta account for that. That's why I always bring Wally
Right.
West.
Right.
And the only downside to him is if his AI was smart enough to not open with this 390% of the time, um, he would
He'd be
actually
so
be a
much
lot more
better.
scary or character to
Yeah.
face.
Yeah, if they were to update his AI, that he'd be ridiculous on defense.
But every once in a while he'd open with that AoE and it screws with everything.
Oh, I know.
Flank.
On this in Siege, the couple times he did that, I was like, oh no.
I feel like they make the AI smarter in Siege.
I think I agree. I think they
Like,
do.
when I do a Siege match, I'm always like, my jaw drops. I'm like, what just happened? That's not supposed to happen.
It might be because we're using lesser tunes, but I don't know. I agree. It does seem like it feels like it feels like they're like red alerts. They're smarter and hit harder.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Which is why it's endgame PvP and it's the endgame activity.
The next character on the list that we all, I think in the same vein, were after playing Siege, we kind of undervalued Ocean Master. I don't think he's quite a C character. I mean, he brings a lot of utility to the team. Does turn meter, he does purging, he does speed ups for the characters that like speed ups, he does shields, which is becoming increasingly important as new characters have come out. So I definitely think he's a B character, not a C. Kage.
I've always had him as a B character, so for the same reason as you just listed.
Loot, you are pretty high on him now.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed that I didn't buy more of him. I kind of ran out of gems, so I was like, I can't get him, and I didn't want to buy more gems until they went on the Barda gem thing. So yeah, he's definitely a B. He's so good. He can neuter everybody. He gave me so much trouble in Siege. I was like, are you kidding me? Like,
Silence is actually a very undervalued debuff.
It is so strong against tunes that can't punch.
Yeah.
Any tune that doesn't have like that their basic is like super weak, you're screwed. Because that's all you're going to get to use.
And
you can't buff.
He shells out those silence.
Oh yeah, it's constant. An L5 Ocean Master might even be an A. I mean, he's so good.
If he wasn't so squishy, that's his big knock. And M4,
Well, that was always his knock, the HP. But now with a lot of friends that gives shields, he can actually survive turn 1.
yeah, and that's
That's why.
important. Bryan, any Ocean Master? Do you have him geared?
No, but going against him a bunch, I think you guys nailed kind of all of his points. You can take him out early. He's not a problem, but if he sticks around, he can start building those shields and the speed ups.
So we'll go on to Ares, who was a rework. So obviously our thoughts have changed on him. Um, I'm kind of torn on what I want to put for him. I'm leaning towards a B. He's really good in Siege and he can stay alive really well, but I'm not sure he's, above that in A tier. He's really fun. I really liked him. I think he was critical for Siege, but I don't see him getting a ton of play outside that. Unlike Penguin, he doesn't do a lot for the team. He's kind of a selfish character that really helps himself more than anyone else. Though his death immunity and stamina ups could be really useful. I've messed around with them some with Barda teams, and they are really fun. Problem is that blue characters or green characters aren't that scared of him, so that's why I would put him as a B. He's a solid B, I would say, a high B, but not quite an A in my mind. Kage, your thoughts?
I think he's a solid character. He's got this weird niche where he's a tank, but he's also got a good team support. I'm just not sure how much more his abilities benefit the team. Because the stamina ups are great. The death immunity is great. It's a little bit gated, but I mean that's really balanced. He's really balanced. I think he's a solid rework. The HP is really annoying, but you're not really. It's not really a threat to your game plan.
Loot?
I think he's a B. I think everything you said is spot on. I actually think his leader skill is terrible.
If you don't have another leader, it's not bad.
I guess if he's the only guy you have, use him. But he would be like almost last on my list to use as a leader.
M4, your thoughts?
I would pile on to what Luke said. I don't know what the designers were thinking when they put debuff immunity on him when he wants to be enraged.
Exactly.
So he can stun on his basic.
Bryan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page as all of you. Using him with Wonder Girl to give her the enrage and strength up can be a deadly combination.
All right.
I agree. They're a very, very, very good combo.
But I think for the tier list, you're more evaluating him on his own.
As M4 says, just give her, do Ares 2 to Wonder Girl and then watch the fireworks happen.
Uh-oh. I just pulled up
A Batgirl sale, or a Batwoman sale, sorry.
Batwoman sale. 200 frags for 7K.
That's a good deal.
Oh, man, that's tempting. Dang it.
Oh, is it reset?
Yeah, it just reset. That's why I had to take a peek. So if you're listening to this, you know we're recording this reset when Batwoman came on sale. And, oh, man, that's tempting. That's really tempting.
A rebirth Batwoman is scary to fight because those pokes hit harder.
Oh, she's terrifying. I think we had, I'm not sure who put this on here, but we wanted to revisit Giganta. Right now we have her as C tier. I think she's solid B, or I always have. So I'm not sure if anybody else put that on there.
I can only comment on how she is to fight against because I never geared her. She was one of the tunes that I didn't have when I went on my hiatus from the game. So, but when I fight her, I kill her very quickly.
So you're still with a C, is what you're saying.
I just have nothing. I shouldn't even be able to vote.
Okay.
Because I've never used her on offense.
Kage, you, I see your number changed recently.
Yeah, I just geared her up recently because I wanted to experiment with Barda. That's why WROL has great credentials because we actually gear our characters and test them out. That way, our sources are legit. Anyway, She's got good synergy with Giganta. It's not mind-blowing. When I play with with Giganta, I think she's solid. She's got really good damage. And the few times that she crits, she'll take out a blue.
Her 3 always kills Wonder Girl for me. If I'm
Yeah.
able to use it on her, it kills her every single time.
Yeah, and I also find her very annoying to fight, especially if you're using her, if you're fighting like certain teams. I'm not going to name them because they are very annoying. She's very hard to take down in certain instances. So I think she's solid. I think people are making the comparison that she just should have been what Barda is. I don't know. I like that she's got a lot of offensive capabilities to her. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
How about you, M4?
I tried her again. I'm the one who put yes here because I know you like him, hate. But I tried to like her, but a taunter that cannot take a hit is not doing it for me. And even with the stamina ups, she can't take a hit.
Yeah, certain characters like Power Girl just destroy her. But when you're not facing Power Girl or Larfleeze, she seems to do fine against everyone else. Flash is kind of wrecks her too. But I like her with Donna Troy because she can stack up the awareness and she does good damage. So, I mean, that's why I think she's a B. She's a low B. She's probably not a high B. But I think she's better than a C personally.
I think she could use a rework. Not necessarily put her as like the same as Barda, but
Yeah, just
I
give her
think,
a little bit.
yeah, just give her something that's going to give her a better sustain, like healing off turn. Oh, you know what? A good rework with her would be? Did you give her like let her use her 2 more often.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. Brian, why don't you be the tiebreaker again and then see if you can hedge?
I agree kind of with Kage. I think she could use a tweak and a slight rework, and she would be a really good character. But as she is now, she's I think she's a C character, kind of middle of the road. She doesn't do her main job great, but she does do other things okay.
All right, and then we'll leave her as a C for now. All right, next on the list is Mr. Miracle. We're not very high on her, or him, excuse me. I have him as a D character. I know some people like him a little more than others. Not really in this group, but I mean the outside group. He's kind of a poor man's Red Robin. That's been comparison a lot. I did like him in Siege because he could grant awareness, and that would help keep a character alive. Outside of Siege, I don't see myself ever using him. That's pretty much all. I mean, he moves some debuffs, but he only moves 2. I mean, he should move all of them for the little bit of damage he does, and he's not that tough either. So he's fairly squishy, does no damage, and he's got minimal utility. So actually, the more I used him, the less I liked him as we went along, which is rare for a character for me. Kage.
I just don't like his revive percentage. It's really strange that you're going to come back from the... There's a 30% chance for you to come back from the dead and give everyone 1 awareness. There's the comparison to Swamp Thing where, yeah, he can come... He's like a 75% chance of coming back, but he can bring the whole team back. No, his revive is guaranteed. It's a 75% chance of bringing the team back.
Yeah.
And everyone gets a fat sack of mens. So...
And he does high damage, and he does so many other things.
Yeah, Swamp Thing is just the better version of... Yeah, if you got Swamp Thing and Red Robin, ignore Mr. Miracle.
Loot,
That's
I
what
know
I think.
you are not high on him, even slightly.
Yeah, I just gave him a 0. He's not even F tier. He's T tier. He is the new tier. I think we created a new tier. What was it, today or yesterday?
Trash tier.
It's called trash tier. He is T tier. He is so bad. You should just take him and throw him in the garbage. Put him in the incinerator. He's terrible.
Tell me how you really feel about him, though.
I lost so many fights in Siege because of him. It's so frustrating.
I think he's really tricky to use.
Yeah, you gotta his using his 2. I found use for in Siege. I honestly, but yeah, I don't see myself ever only because he was a bonus character. I would use someone else if he wasn't. So M4.
I'm with Loot. Well, not quite trash tier, but he's borderline F tier. He's not unusable, but everything that he does, someone else does it better. There's absolutely no reason to bring him over someone else.
Yeah, I'm actually almost leaning towards F tier, actually, as you say that.
So do you say he's the new Ross?
I wouldn't say he's that bad.
He's usable.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
but I
he's
would
as
say
bad
he's
as Roz.
down there with, like, Yellow Lantern Sinestro, maybe. Joker
Beast
Damage
Boy.
Goods. I think
That's about how
I'd
good he
take
is.
Joker Damage Goods over him. So yeah, actually I think he is qualified as F tier.
All
Brian,
right.
how about you? Have you, since he's a freebie character, I didn't know if you'd geared him yet or tried him yet.
I geared him a bit for his Alliance week. He just kind of was there on my team. He didn't really do anything, so I'm definitely on the same page as all of you, it seems, with him.
So I think we agreed to F tier in the end.
Yikes.
Yeah. Kind of wish I would have left him as a slow gear character, but that got resolved. Moving on. Let's go to Captain Cold. So we had him as D tier, and I think after Siege we all maybe felt a little different about him. I wouldn't give him real high, but I think I would definitely move him to C tier because he's
3's B, bro.
3's B. My bad.
No, it's not. It's like 3 point something before you become a B.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's 2.5, 3, whatever. I think he's C tier, whatever that one is. So he's squishy, but his utility's good. His damage is pretty good. I mean, he was the reason in so many matches I would face a red heavy team that had Ares, and I would just run all greens because Captain Cold could keep him permanently stun locked, and I could whittle him down with the special damage. And I actually am pretty high. I like Captain Cold a lot more than I did because of the Siege. And that's the one thing I love about Siege is it forces you to use characters that you would never use normally. And I used to hate Captain Cold because, I mean, he will die to one whip from Wonder Girl. Wonder Girl she doesn't need any strength up, nothing. Just if her whip hits you, you're dead. But now that we have a bigger meta that's allowing for tankier characters and keep your characters alive more, I might actually best him out every now and again for fun because he's just a fun character. And with a rework, just change his gear set and give him some life. He's a really good character. So I think C is appropriate. Kage.
He's prime for a rework, yeah. I've used him a handful of times. I think he's really fun, especially if there's no strong blues around. He's one of those characters like you're like, oh, you know what, I'm bored. I got an extra 15,000 minutes to spare, so let's run this stunlock team and whatever. I think he's fun, but he could use a little bit more to bring up his utility if he's going to find more mainstream usage.
So is that a B or a C?
I'd say C.
Okay. I mean, not B. I'm sorry. D or C. Loot, your thoughts on Captain Cold after Siege?
Bring him up to a C.
Okay. M4?
He's a solid C right now, but even if he just gets the Steppenwolf treatment, he'd be an A easy if he just gets the gear set change. Because his kit is fine. He's just won't survive.
And Bryan?
I agree. I think he's a C character.
Okay. And last on the list, somebody wanted to discuss Blue Beetle. So whoever wanted to discuss him, you can go ahead and bring him up.
I think someone put the Y here because we saw an RB1 Blue Beetle out there.
Yeah, Batman has
It's
him.
Batman's.
Yeah.
I'm still going to call him trash tier. I don't care what he posts and what teams he beats. Blue Beetle's terrible. You can do it. You could make him RB5. Maybe it would make him a C tier.
Kage.
I remember fighting in Blue Beetle in the previous Siege, where whatever when that one was, where he was the bonus character, I think. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. If I was dumb and I let him ramp up, he could like kill a couple characters on my team. But other than that, he doesn't do his job that well. which is to kill shield characters.
M4, do you have any thoughts on him?
No, I just think his kit is like contradicting. He wants to destroy shields, yet he wants to punch through them. And then he wants to be the anti-shield character, and yet his AoE wants to purge non-shielded characters, which is dumb. He could have solved the debuff immunity on Hal Jordan, right? So I think he's a very solid def.
And Bryan.
I agree with everything you guys have been saying. Every time I see him as an opponent, I go after him.
Yeah, I tried to make Blue Beetle work many times. And granted, if you, like I've said many times, you can Steppenwolf buff the crap out of him with Cheetah and give him a ton of strength ups, but any character that has an AoE suddenly looks good when you do that. So I tried using him against this shield meta numerous times, and there's 1,000 other characters that do it better. He's nice for purging Hal Jordan's buffs, but I would much rather just throw a Wonder Girl or a World's Greatest Detective or any other character that can do that in instead. So we'll remain him at F tier. It looks like we all unanimously agree. Well, this ended up going much longer than I expected, so we had a little more characters to talk about. I doubt next month we will, but who knows? We might remove some characters. It looks like we unanimously moved everyone up quite a few characters. I think that we maybe undervalued. So maybe next month we'll revisit some that maybe could take a step down or that the meta has changed. But for now, this is the new updated list. Bryan, estimation on the artwork, you think?
Once the list is set, I have everything pretty well together, so
Okay.
A day or two.
Awesome.
And I just took Barda to 5 stars, so I have her portrait all ready to go.
Okay, great. Well, if you need anything from me, you have access to the shared drive, so you have the list here now. And I will.
I did have one question for. Sorry. Penguin, is he an A or an S?
We moved him to S. So the June,
Okay.
see the June list that has all of our
Yeah.
changes.
No,
And
just during the discussion, I thought it was
Okay.
settled on an A, so.
No, I think we settled on an S
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
because we had a tie, and then we decided to lean up since we did Barda S.
Yeah, maybe next month when we invite maybe someone else to join the rating team, we can take another look at it.
Yeah. So we'll see. But anyway, so this is the official list. So we'll have this included in the show notes, and we'll have the graphic, and it'll be posted all over the place. So we appreciate everybody. If you have any opinions or agree, disagree, feel free to post it in the comments. Thanks very much.
Hey everyone, it's Tootytron. Thank you for listening to WROL Broadcasts. If you like the show, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/WROL Broadcasts. You guys think if I go out of my way next siege to lose to hate a bunch, that he might send me those dirty socks of his? I hope so.